dumbbell. He's like, where's my dumbbell? He loves his. His is big and green. So, one of the biggest things that I don't want to run into is arcing. Okay? So, arcing on the dumbbell. So, and a lot of dogs arcing with the dumbbell in their mouth. They pick it up and then they turn it out wide. So initially, the minute I did this done, I used to use my fences. And then Betsy and Linda were like, why do you use your fences? Why don't you just use your gates? Well, that makes sense. Yeah. So you start with your gates like this, wide. And in class, for those that teach, I would set them up in partners. So 4 people are doing retrieves, 4 people are standing behind here, catching dumbbells that people can't actually throw or well. Okay? So you start with them open, and then move them in. Because I want him turning tightly back. Do you guys know Rich Strong? You know Rich Strong, the judge? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in utility, my little Sheltie, she got a 199 under Rich, which was fantastic. She lost 1 point arcing. Just an arc. So I'm a little more anal retentive now about arcing. So here we go with this. Really set up nicely. So what I do is we do 1 retrieve, and then you're going to be on the flexi. Don't, when you start doing this, don't let them just go. They need to be on flexi. Flexi. I know people hate flexi. But I told you guys yesterday, 26-foot, small clip. Corded, the ones that tear you to pieces. That's the one you want. And you don't get a cheap one. Get the Flexi brand Flexi. Chewy.com has them now, and this is what they look like now when you buy one. They look like these. I like this one. If I could find more of these, I would buy them. I would pay $100 for them. This one is $19, so that's what I bought. But they're 26-foot, small clip, because Shelties don't like to be hit in the face with big clips, and cords. So, like I said, Chewy.com has them, and you can get them in all kinds of colors, so that's cool. I don't have his dumbbell, but what I do is there is 2 ways to do this. So when you start, let's rev him up. That's why there's somebody standing behind here, because people can't throw dumbbells, myself included. You want it in the corner. Don't get, some of my students get a little lazy and will let it land out here. No, I want it in the corner. So when you've got it, you're going to hold the collar back. You have to check your flexi. Hold the flexi, check it. Make sure that it's out. It's not locked. Get it. Wrestle. I give 2 little pops. That's it. 2 pops and let him run back. Okay? So the next throw, get it. He's like, hey, I can shoot him. Good boy. Notice, no mouthing. Do you see that? I'm telling you guys, mouthers, you have to go through those horrible rotten steps. Out. So in the obedience ring, when I'm showing, if I was showing him, when they handed me the dumbbell and I was done, the first thing I'm going to do between exercises, I'm going to give it back to him. Good. The only toy I can take in the ring. Yes. But you have to have out. I mean, if he doesn't let go, you're going to be screwed. So, all right. So the next phase is you move it in a little one side at a time. Okay. So I'm going to throw this again. Check the flexi. Get it. Wrestle. Good man. And just play with the dumbbell. I don't have to give cookies if I don't want to. If I can hold the dumbbell, I can play with it. So do it again. We're going to move this side in. Move it in a little tighter. Whoops. See, that's where my students would just check your flexi. That's fine. Get it. Wrestle. Oh, tugging. Ugly throw, don't do it. That was good. I'm glad these people don't. So move the next side in. Ready? Make it tighter. Rascal, rascal, rascal. Oh. That's okay, stop. He used his feet. So put it back out there where it was, where he kicked it. No, where he kicked it. Where he kicked it. There you go. So this would be an ear punch. Because he didn't make an effort to reach for it. So, get it. Good. Yes. That's my ear punch. So, he's visibly stressed. Ready? Always check. I've had them lock up on their own. Always check. Rascal, rascal, rascal! Yeah. See him hit the gate? He's not turning his body the way he needs to. That's why the gate. Hey, what are you doing?
She says, I gotta go.
Moving!
That's never happened in here, Matt. So
Never happened to me either. I think I'm running. He's running too damn much. They haven't been out. Hey. Could you not move? It'd be easier if you just not move. They haven't been running. Too much running. Alright, that's good. Even though you took 5 this morning. Come here, lie down. Embarrassing.
Never happens when you're...
I'll take it out.
The more you run them, the more it starts moving around. So you just keep going in tighter and tighter and tighter until you get to a spot where they really need to go in, reach with their neck, and pull back.
We're moving in one side
At a time, yep.
And then your dog says, oh, I'm going to turn this.
Yes. Then you let it go. Don't get upset about it. Let them go the direction they want to go. But at some point, if they start changing it up, you're going to need to decide which side they're going to go to. I mean, you want it to be consistent. You need to know which way your dog turns.
It is the way it is now, and your dog normally turns this way. And then all of a sudden, your dog says, oh, this is too tight, I'm going to go this way. Start moving both sides in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I know with him, he turns to the right. That's the way he turns. So he comes here, and he turns to the right. If he started turning to the left, I may open this a little bit. Because I don't want him to turn in any direction but to the right. Because, guys, the difference between a 200 is when your dog not shitting in the rain. That'd be a good idea. And it does. I'm just still in shock. I'm like, did he just do that? Dog's got craziness. Keeping it cooped up is a lot. But when you throw this, if I know my dog turns to the right, and I know that when he turns to the right, I get a better front from the left, then where you land your dumbbell is what's important. That bounce all over the damn place. I'm not used to your mats, but you need to learn to throw your dumbbell, but you also need to know which way your dog turns. All that plays into your front. So if he turns to the right, and he really is only good straight on, then I may throw it a hair to the left. Try to. That was a pretty damn straight one. I wanted it to go a little this way. But you got to learn how to handle your dumbbell too. A lot of people don't think about dumbbell throwing. And dumbbell throwing is big. You have to throw correctly. So like these mats are totally different than what we have in Florida. But if I wanted to land it on that line, I'm having all kinds of trouble throwing this dumbbell. So, and each dumbbell is going to be different. In Florida, if I let go a little bit short, they typically bounce straight out. But they're not doing it on these mats. So, wait. So this is why hula hoop throws are really important. That's what I normally do. But learning to handle that dumbbell is important. I get more comfortable the more I play on your mats. But, I always put a backspin on mine. Richard Carlson throws hers overhand. I can't do that. I can't land it overhand. I hold it by the bell like this, and I just let go at where I want it to land. Not horrible. If you get within 4 feet, you should be good, unless you're trying to really deal with your points. With Brandy, when she got her 200, I knew that she was better coming from the left to the right, so I threw my dumbbell like there, and she nailed her front. So, sometimes it's about handling the dumbbell. You can't always control it. You cannot always control it. So, don't try. But if you let this go, you'll be fine. You need to practice throwing them. Hula hoops are great. And the reason they're great is because if I set up a bunch of hula hoops, here's one over here, and I said, you're not leaving class tonight. I'm just like a bull in a china shop today, apparently. Me and my dogs are just in the grave. But if I set up a hula hoop, I said, there, and there. And then you're not leaving until you land your dumbbell on it. So we would probably be here all day if I did it with everybody. But literally, your goal is to try to hit it into that hula hoop. That's pretty damn close for the first time. This one would be almost. So handling your dumbbell is really important. And you set these up, and you say, look, we're going to play a game over here, but you're not playing until you land on the dumbbell. So, good luck. And you leave them, because I don't care. I don't have to help you throw your dumbbell. You have to help yourself throw the dumbbell. So it's a really good game for people that suck at throwing, that want to break lights and stuff like that. You do this. So, if you have multiple dogs and multiple dumbbells, you've got to learn to throw multiple dumbbells. This one is heavier than this one. So, throwing this one, it's pretty light. Almost. Versus the heavy one. I'm getting pretty consistent. Now that I understand your mats a little better.
Are they both wood?
No, they're both plastic. Yes?
I was wondering, I have a dog who turns the direction it needs to. Like if it's over here, it comes that way.
Suzanne with Dexter really picked his direction. You need to make sure that they pick a side. I want them to turn one direction. Okay? So, as you guys play these games, teachers, do 10 of these and play with your good students, and your bad students who didn't practice, they're stuck over here. And that just is how you should set things up, so that way they get better through error. Okay, so any questions on this? All right, so what we're going to do is 5 working dogs at 5 spots. Dogs that have a retrieve. If they don't have a retrieve, in puppy class, sorry, I've got to go back a minute. In puppy class, we don't play it necessarily with the dumbbell. We play it with the cheese ball. So in puppy class, we can start getting them to turn tight like this with food. So we can do this. So if your dog doesn't have a retrieve and you have a working spot, grab a cheese ball. And they sit. Now I may start articles. And say this with me, do not start puppies on articles. I don't. And here's why. 90% of article problems are retrieve-based problems. So when I come and I see puppies doing articles, which is different than a lot of the big trainers, but remember, they can do this full time, you can't. I can't. So I'm not going to go fix problems later. It may only take them 2 or 3 days, it may take us 6 months. Because we're scheduled. So, I do not teach articles to puppies. Everybody's like, I know. I get that look everywhere I go. Until my dog has a beautiful hold and good pickup and a forced retrieve, you are not touching articles. And article, here's why. My first Sheltie, Tyler, when he died, I seriously considered having him stuffed with an article in his mouth for all eternity. It was bad. It was really bad. And part of the reason I teach articles the way that I teach them is because of Tyler. When you're going to school full-time and you're working full-time and you're trying to get a notch on a little crazy Sheltie, it can get rough. I would go to the dog club at midnight. I had a key, and that's when I would train. Because I didn't have time during the day. I was either in college or I was working, or maybe occasionally I'd see that lady that I eventually married. I would say, take her to McDonald's, apparently. So when I was training him, there was a field next to my apartment, and I would put his jumps out, and I'd ask if I could leave them out. You're not going to mow it tomorrow, right? So I can leave these out. I'd leave them out, but I would go to the dog club at midnight if I couldn't train outside, because you have to go and do those things. Well, the first time I'd ever taught articles, in Florida, we have a large retriever-based training method kind of mindset, which is great. I love retrievers. My Sheltie is not a Labrador. He was never going to be a Labrador. And his love of retrieving was about 0. And then I asked him to go pick up metal and leather articles. And he loved that about a lot less. So when I started doing, the first time I taught my dog, I did it with a tie-down board. That's how everybody else did it. So I tied them down one at a time, sent him out until he was right. But he never understood to smell them. He just understood to go out and check which one was tied down. And I couldn't see that because 90% of the time he was right. He was right. But occasionally there was 10% where he'd go out and he'd pull. And the day that he brought me back the tie-down board with a metal article, I said, wait a minute. Now, he was 14 and a half pounds. He's a real skinny little guy. So to watch this little Sheltie pull and step off the board and do this, I'm like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. So it took 12 times to get his UD. 12 times in the ring. And 12 times to get his UD was, for me, it was 9 times too many. And I was like, what is the problem? It was always articles. Always. And I can remember doing all kinds of stupid stuff. I put gin on them. Yes, Tanqueray only. Because that way I can drink it if I'm having my wife's... I may have not been born well off, but I have good expensive taste when it comes to liquor. And I would spray them with gin, all the wrong ones, because I saw it in the video. This is going to fix the problem. Gin did nothing because it didn't tell Tyler how to smell. He didn't know how to use his nose. And all he knew was this was a retrieve and I'm supposed to come back and sit front. But when I do that, you're mad. So then he started stopping out of the pile. And that was fun to fix. Finally one night I said, I'm going to go and get a video by somebody else, because you guys can't help me. They were the local dog club. My instructor was like, her golden was doing great articles, her lab puppy was doing great articles, and my Sheltie was not doing great articles. And I said, I'm going to have to go to somebody different. I hope you don't get mad. I said, but I've been doing this for a year now, and I'm nowhere. He has his UD, but thank God he checks 12 o'clock first. That's why he has his UD, because the judge always put them under the same judges that always started at 12 and went to 6. That's how he could qualify every day. That's where he learned to check them. But if they moved them, I was out. People knew this. Because Tyler would either knock them dead or he would crash and burn, one of the two. So this lady that I'd heard about, her name was Janice DeMillo. This is before I actually was friends with her. And I said, I am having the worst trouble with articles. And the response I got was, buy my video. So I was like, okay, so I bought it. And I watched it 3 times. So I heard her say, resend, reheat, and recheese 19,000 times. And actually, when I went to Washington last year, and I went to Hobnob Farm, I said, Janice, there's 3 words you're not allowed to say. Resend, reheat, or recheese. I've heard you say them now. But okay, I thought that was mine. Mine didn't make noise. I went in and I got the video and I made flashcards for every day. Because I knew I was never going to remember all that shit. So I was like, started writing it down on flashcards. Day 1, week 1, this is what you do. Day 2, week 2, this is what you do. And at that point, I said, I can't remember this damn clock. Why? I don't know. I can remember all kinds of stuff, but I couldn't remember this pattern. So I put it on a board. Ignore the strings. They didn't come till later. Okay. So this board showed the around-the-clock method, the actual clock. Okay. It's missing a couple of numbers. And I just used a piece of old matting from a club that went under, and they gave away their mats, and I went and got it and made dog mats out of it. So the board has the around-the-clock method on it. So every day, me and my Matt did our stuff. And finally, I looked at Tyler, and he started to understand, I need to smell the articles. And that was huge for me, because I had this little dog that had no clue how to use his nose. The problem was I'd already heated him. I already made it hot. Through correcting him or being emotional or getting upset, I'd already taken away all the good stuff that Janice had to give me. So I did what any logical person would do. I went back to the tie-down the minute I stopped putting the cheese on him. And he finished his arch in 6 shows after that. In fact, he finished, the night before he finished his arch, I went and I had put them next to a cow pile. Because I said, I know you're a turd sometimes on these. Find mine. And there's like literally a cow pile right there. And he could do his articles the next day, finish his arch. And he won a 42 dog class, utility dog class, to finish it. He went in with 61 points and he came out with 102. So that's a pretty big class. So the next dog came along, and Millie, my next Sheltie, who was a very scared dog, I said, I'm not making the same mistakes. We're going to go to the around-the-clock method. It's the around-the-clock method. And her first show, she got her first UD leg. I was like, sure, I knew I had the recipe now for articles. And Millie went out got her second UD leg. And the third time she went out, she blew an article. And I was completely heartbroken. Like, I thought we were done. Well, we were, because her eyes went out. She just was having a lot of depth perception issues, and I couldn't figure out why she wouldn't jump, and then the articles were a problem. It wasn't the scenting that was a problem, it was her eyes. So Brandy came along, and I thought, again, I had the recipe, but I said, you know what? I ain't taking any damn chances. I'm going to do the around-the-clock method, and when it comes time to reduce the cheese on the article, I'm going to tie them down. Which kind of fits into my philosophy of teach them first, correct them second. Kind of fit just perfect for me. Brandy blew one article her entire career. And the reason she blew it was we were outside, and the mat flipped up as she was doing her articles, and she grabbed one and said, here it is, I'm done, buddy. Flipping mats is not what I signed up for. So I forgave her. She never missed another one. Gurley is doing fantastic with them. Rascal has never done them, because he probably will never do them. But I use the around-the-clock method. I highly recommend you have that DVD. I do. Yeah, do you have here? That DVD, it's a dry watch. It's a dry watch. I mean, it's a dry watch. But there's one piece that's not in it. that I think you need. And so I teach this piece extra to the around the clock. I don't say that it's part of the around the clock, but it's a piece that I found my dogs that I needed. I never give a puppy an article that isn't hot scented. Ever. They don't play with articles that are cold. If you're going to put an article in your mouth, it's going to be hot scented. And when I tell you hot, I have had judges ask me if I was going to rub the metal off them. I'm like, possible. You know, I make them ridiculously hot. I do not believe that a dog that's ever been reinforced for a hot scent from the beginning is ever going to find that there's too much scent. That defies logic in what we know about dog training. If hot scent equals cookies, how the hell does one day that become offensive? It doesn't. That's bullshit. It's an excuse. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, that defies the whole science and what we know about learning things. But in all the cues that I taught in healing yesterday, here's the cue, and I teach in articles, that you're not just looking for my scent, you're looking for heat. Look for heat. And our nose work buddies, they know those dogs get excited when the heat comes. They start to see it, and you can see the dog change. Like, oh my God, I'm getting close, here, boom, and they land on it fast. So to say that I over-scented it, and it blew over here, okay, we know that scent does move. But we also know that we understand source. Dogs should be looking for source. They should not be looking for anything else. So when I rub this, I want it physically warm. And I'm going to pass this around, and the person here that I start with will be able to tell the difference, and she will be able to tell the difference. That's how long it's going to stay hot. So I want you to understand, hot scent is physically warm. You tell me which one it was. It'll be easy, because you'll be able to know. And if you can know by feel, your dog can know by feel. I don't care if he smells me. I'm not asking him to be a cadaver dog. I need him to do damn articles. I love it when the tracking people get involved in these conversations.
Yeah.
The tracking people are like, my dog can find 900 hours after. Good for your dog. Why does your dog do shooting articles? That's my question. So, you know, I want you to say, don't make this difficult on the dog. I did, and it sucked. So, you understand a hot sound. Gotta have that. The next piece I've got to have is we have to understand how to be liberal with cheese. People hate cheese on their articles. Like, people hate this. The minute I bring this can out, my son's like, I just want to hit him with it. I have to keep my Italian temper in check. I'm like, look, you can make this difficult, and you can fight me on it, but I'm going to fight you until I win, because it's my class. So you're either going to do it my way, or you're going to do it my way. There's no chance. I said, look, I've already been here. I've done this. I have the t-shirt. I don't want that one again. This is the hardest thing we teach dogs, I think. But it doesn't have to be. You still feel the hot one, don't you? It should be very simple to understand that to a dog. I tested this out. I had 10 arch students that came over, and I put their piles out. I made them hot scent their articles, and then I made them change piles. And I said, send your dog. And they went out, and all the dogs hit on the right article. They hit it. They're like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. This one's the hot one, but it don't smell like you. So I didn't get the retrieve, but the dogs indicated those articles. So, yes.
That's actually been a theory of mine that I've always wanted to test out. We think we're teaching them to find us. I think what we're actually teaching them is to find the one that's different.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, when I was having trouble with Tyler and I wanted to finish his UD, I borrowed somebody else's articles. I said, hey, can I borrow your articles? And the day he finished his UD, they were on somebody else's articles. Because they smelled so different that he went to what was exactly the same. And if I could have bought 10 sets of articles and sent them to other people and then borrowed them for show days, it would have been fantastic.
Does wood take the hot scent as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Ray, when she plays with an article, it's hot scented. I never let her touch anything that's not.
But wood also says.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing wood. I did wood with Brandy because I was going to send her to Canada. I never got the chance to because she got sick. But I was going to send her to Canada to get her G-Manch. That's what I wanted. I wanted a G-Manch too because it looked cool. And somebody had challenged me on it. And so I taught her to send it on wood articles. I'm glad we have, in America now, we have the option to do wood. My students don't have the option, but that's okay. Somebody else can do them. I like traditional, leather and metal. But if I have a student that's dogs have bad teeth, or the metal really bothers them, and I can't get past it, I'll just switch them. But a hot scent's a hot scent. When you do this, when you start to cheese your article, you want to be liberal with the cheese. Oh, God. Messes in me today are just... This is called liberal, okay? It covers the entire bar. Now, how many of you think that your dog would pick this up and leave that cheese alone?
Would you ever teach us to take the cheese
No. No, I'll show you in another rascal. With your forced retrieve, that's the piece I think is missing. I want them to leave that cheese alone and bring me this article. And they're like, what? When I show this with Gurley, people don't believe it. Until I take the article out of her mouth and show them the cheese that's left on the article. I'm like, see? Because I want her to be thinking about finding the article and bringing it back, rather than just eating. The cheese is just there to help us. It's not there for them to just only search for cheese. That's why the hot scent's so important. If you don't hot scent them, and the dog's like, look for the cheese smell. Well, I'm not cheese whiz. We have to do this correctly. So, I'm going to show you how I would teach. Brain gives crap on the floor. Here's I'm going to shut this rust off. Okay, so, he's like, I'm on your shit list. I'm over here to eat this cheese. How did you get it on your back? So, whenever I start scenting the article, like this, you can have it good. You just want to set it out on the floor, hold it back a little bit, put your finger on it, go find it. Good boy, that's a good find. Good boy. Good. Once it's all off, get it. Yeah. Hey, good boy, where'd he? You think I'm not stepping on that map? You can tell he hasn't done much of this. Now, this is where a paper towel is a really good friend of yours.
There's some in the bucket right there.
Okay. Once he's licked it off, you wipe it with the paper towel, you re-hot scent it. Sit. Just get one. Thank you. So you're going to take the cheese off your dog. I know, you don't like stuff like that. Yesterday, he liked the bellman at the hotel. I guess that maintenance guy or whatever it was. Today, he didn't like him at all. He's being weird. Welcome to working border collies. They're weird. So you hot scent this. And the other one should have no voice. And you do it again. Ready? Ready? Hold him back. Go find it. Excellent. Good boy, good find it. Good. Take it. Take it. These are not his articles. They're tighter than life. Good boy. So, you're going to keep this up. Once they're really starting to put together the lick the cheese off and take the article, then I start asking them to take it instead of good find it. Because I want them to hurry up. And if he needs an ear pinch here, I will give him one. Because my ear pinch isn't so bad that I have to worry about shutting it down. He's pretty soft. Get it, take it. Excellent. Out. There's still cheese on my article. That's where I'm at before I would start the around the clock. So I add this section. And then his reward is he gets to lick it up there. Oh, boy. Now, like I said, I haven't done this with him. So, because I'm not going to teach him utility. He's going to be doing herding, but... Yeah. But once he can pick this up with cheese on it, I'm ready to start replacing, in my opinion. So this is my precursor to the around the clock. You have to have this piece. This makes it all go fast. When we get down to the point when we start reducing cheese on the article, guys, just so you know, I prefer double bars. But I was really picky about the ones I wanted to buy, so I had them custom made, and I've got an order in. But I trained them on singles because they were cheap and it works. But I really prefer double bars. Because I train outside, they lift them above the grass a little bit more. So here we go with hot. When I start reducing the cheese on the article, I go dot, 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 dot. 4 dots. So now it's no longer a line, it's just dots. Then I go dot, dot, dot. So this is 3 dots, and then 2 dots. And then when I go down to 1 dot, that's when I tie them down. I've helped you enough. Good luck. Okay? So when I get to 1 dot, I tie them down. When they're tied down is when proofing starts. Do not proof untied articles. You will regret it. Because they can make mistakes. And I want them to get self-corrected by the mat. They'll get self-corrected. And they'll come in. They'll get their self-corrections. They'll come back. We'll still party, but we're not getting food. You don't get cookies unless you do it correctly. So if they pick up the wrong one and it gets jerked out of their mouth, and then they bring me back the right one, no food. Say, good, that's a good try. That's exactly what I want, buddy. Rock star. Get it. Go out and get it again. I say go find. That's what I say. I thought it was really cute. Somebody said, go sniff. That was really cute. So that's what I use in nose work. That was my word in nose work. Go sniff. But in articles, I just say go find. Yes?
You said you didn't do articles with puppies until they have a retreat. Do you do any of that piece you just showed us?
No.
Not even? Okay.
Nothing. No. I will teach them to take their retreat, to retrieve their articles. So like with Ray, she's already had hot scented articles work on whole. Whole. Yeah, you can do whole. But I wouldn't do anything else. I had such problems with this exercise, guys. And how many of you have had trouble with articles? Anybody? Yeah. I mean, I try to make this foolproof. There are lots of people out there trying to find ways to not put cheese on their articles. Victor Hewlett's got a different method for teaching articles using a centaur and bottles and all that type of stuff. Looks cool, but this works for my students and I'm going to stick with it. Now, it gets problematic putting cheese on your leather articles. So I use electric tape. Just electric tape. It still smells like leather, but I put electric tape. And then as I reduce the amount of cheese, I reduce the amount of tape.
Can you explain that?
Use a little black electric tape so that when I put the cheese on the article, it's not on my article.
And then does it stick?
It just sticks, yeah, but not real bad. Yeah, I would, yeah. And I don't wash articles. I used to, I'm not kidding you, I used to be ritualistic with my articles. Like every night I laid them on the vent of the the air conditioning unit outside. If it wasn't going to rain, I'd lay them there and let that wind blow through them all night. In a hotel, I would lay them on the vent. I'd pick them up with tongs, kind of just pick everything up. At the end of the session, I hot scent everything to even everything out. I just hot scent them all. I just hold them, talk to my students. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you use electrical tape, do you wrap it around it or just put a strip?
I just put a strap. I don't want too much of that sticky stuff. So, don't need to stand there looking weird. So you need to just follow her steps, though. Once you get this piece where they can pick up the cheese article, you just follow her steps. Then, when you get to the end of her steps, and you're down to one dot of cheese, tie them down. That's why these are here. So, once we got through the around the clock, I can flip my little mat over, and I don't tie them down tight for long. They're only tied down tight for like a week. After that, I let them be on loose strings. Because I want them to have that, I can pick this up and I want to see it. I don't want them to just put their mouth over top of it because then I don't know their true intention. A long tie gives me a chance to see their true intention. Did you intend to pick that up or are you mouth sensitive? I can't tell when they're tied down tightly. So I can in here. I like to use the mats because that's what they're going to show on, mostly. Yes?
What do you do about mouth scenting?
I use teepees. So, in my effort to be helpful to my students, I had a couple of students that had dogs that mouth scented, and they wanted to hit it and touch it. So what we did was we took hard wire, and we cut it the size of the bit, and put a teepee of it right here. So now, ow, okay, well, stay off of it. Much like that. Stay off of it. Because I don't want to keep correcting them myself. I'm going to kill my relationship by correcting them myself. That's the problem I'm having with hurting and doing obedience at the same time. You have to be harder and hurting.
What was that for we get doing?
First, I don't touch them with their mouth, scent them. I use teepees, wire teepees. And you can just cut them to fit your article. You have to have 5,000 different little teepees if you have different dogs of different sizes. But you just put them in that, no, leave that alone. I did not find gin worked at all.
Do they go
I just drank it.
I need a little more on this, because they obviously can't pick it up, or can they?
The right one doesn't have a teepee. Only the wrong one, so they keep wanting the mouth scent have a teepee. So I like the teepees. And that came about, Judy Howard didn't show that to us, but her wire, and we got a woman wire everything. I'm not shitting you. Recall, she wired up the recall. She sold sets of the wire cut for what she used it for. It was amazing. It was one of the best seminars I've been to. It was most inventive, for sure. But she used the wire, and when I started seeing the mouthing, I'm like, how am I going to fix that? And then I remembered Judy Howard. I'm like, how can we wire that? And then we can make a teepee out of that. So she inspired that. She didn't show it, but she inspired it. And I've used a little bit of wire on a couple of things. Some dogs that mouth, you can wrap the bar of the article or the dumbbell with a little piece of wire, around it, and they'll put mouth in it because it feels weird on their teeth. The problem is it took a year of doing that, and most people don't want to wait that long.
Have different size mats, like if we try to have the articles further away, or...
This is shelfie size. This one was for my shelfie. I used it for her. I would get a bigger one if I had bigger dumbbells. Because her articles were only 3.5, maybe 3 inches long, but you get ones with a 3-inch bit and then big sides, you've got a little bit bigger dumbbell, so I use a bigger mount.
Just make it for the standard red ring spacing.
Yes, and people seem to not understand what 6 inches is for some reason. 6 inches is the size of a dollar bill. Okay? So, a lot of people need to understand to put the articles a dollar bill apart. As a judge, I tell my students, or my stewards, here's a dollar bill. Make sure that they're apart. I hate tight articles. And if I see a steward do it in the judge's ring when I'm showing, I'm like, they're supposed to be a dollar bill apart. Here's $1. Because I don't want them that tight. My dogs will do it. That's not the problem. But the point is, the regulations say, about $1 apart. And this is not $1 apart. To me as a judge, if you whatever you bring in that bag, you're doing. So you want to bring 18 articles and think that I'm going to count them out? You're wrong. I'm dumping your whole pile. AKC hates that. But I think that that's just a way to keep people, accountable. You put 500 pieces of food in there, well, you're going to do it. I'm not picking it up for you. Judges don't get any real power other than to give you a score. And, I've had people who take up a lot of time because the steward dumped the article pile rather than setting them out, and there was leaves and all kinds of crap. You're doing them. You're doing it. Sorry. You bring me 18 articles, good luck. In Canada, they do 15. I don't want to hear anybody complain. So, I like to have, you always make sure that you have your articles the right amount, 10 articles, bring them in, make sure you have the right amount of leather versus the right amount of metal. Don't bring extra stuff in your article bag. Make sure they're clean. Don't bring me chipped cheese articles, because you'll see that. The other thing that you don't want to do, don't have yourself just one set. Bring 2 sets to a show. I had somebody steal 6 articles out of my bag at a trial. I counted them that morning because I'm like religious about stuff. I'm very Catholic when it comes to my articles because I've had such a bad time with them. And I went in, I put them all in the bag. I zipped them up, put them in the car. I took them to the trial. I opened them up. I counted them again. I got into the ring, and I was missing, most of my articles. Now, I didn't bring 2 or 3 articles to the ring with me. I had to go borrow somebody else's. Give me your articles. So, 2 sets is always good to have. Don't do one thing. Don't set them on the ground. Dogs will piss on them. And rats would probably be the one to do it. Don't set them on the ground because dogs will pee on them. If you set them here, you're asking for problems. So don't do that. Keep your articles up. I don't wash mine at all, ever. But if they get cheesy, then I may take a baby wipe and wipe them off. But don't get crazy with them. I do set them out in the sun occasionally, every once in a while. But I've gotten to where I'm brave about them now. Because of the way I teach them, I feel like I've got a good method, and this is what we do. So any questions on articles? Articles are hard, guys, but you get your retrieve taught correctly and teach your articles. Yes?
When you start doing the around-the-clock method, do you do anything to rev the dog up, like hold him by the collar, or do you do?
Yeah, I want to, and I try to get back a little faster.
Okay.
Because speed, distance equals speed. So if you want speed, you're going to have to back up. Like with Gurley, I'm still revving her up. I do a pivot. She'll get rewarded for the pivot. I'll step over, I'll hold her chest. Ready, steady, 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 steady. Ready, go! And I send her to the pile. And as she's searching the pile, I walk backwards. So I just keep walking. Because I want that distance to teach her to run back to me. And she's on 26-foot flexing, so if she's going 20 feet, I have 6 feet and I can still walk backwards. I do everything on the flexing. I watch for arcing very quickly. And guess what? Sometimes you need to do articles in here. So I would do articles with a new dog in the triangles, so that way they don't bark. The goal is to get a dog to come through the article pile. They find the right article and they run out of the pile. That's the goal. Now, that does get you kicking articles here, there, and everywhere occasionally. But I don't care. I want you to come through the pile. Shannon Shepherd's dog, Gunner, is a beautiful